Today is voting day in Georgia for two critical Senate runoffs that will determine control of the Senate and ultimately how much of Biden's plan for the country gets implemented. Today's vote not only determines control of the Senate, but also has significant implications for the stock market and our Biden trades. We are in clean energy stocks, wind, solar, that sort of thing, electric vehicles, infrastructure, construction, and a bunch of bounce back stocks that would benefit from additional stimulus. So today's vote could be close. We might not have an outcome tonight. Hopefully we'll know something by tomorrow morning. That, of course, depending on if there is a legal challenge to the vote, which, who knows? Today on Dumb Money, we are going to prepare for all outcomes. All eyes are looking at Senate runoff in Georgia.
This is Dumb Money Live with Chris Camillo, Dave Hansen, and Jordan McLean. Streaming live on YouTube. We are Dumb Money.
Hey there, Dave here along with Chris and Jordan. We are Dumb Money. Welcome to the show. Before this Senate race, there was only one Senate campaign in history that had spent more than $200 million. In these two races, the campaigns spent a total of more than $800 million. And that's just as of the latest count. Voter turnout in Georgia has already broken records as well. More than 3 million people have voted by early voting and absentee ballot. Until this runoff, the largest turnout for a Georgia Senate runoff was 2.1 million people. So 1 million more people voted early than total voters in the next highest Georgia runoff. Completely makes sense today. It could have more of an impact on the country than the presidential election did. Chris, Jordan, we are not predicting the outcome, but we're preparing for any outcome. Yesterday, Chris, you said, hey, you already made some trades to protect your portfolio, shorting the SPY, but I know you also made some other options trades. What have you done so far?
Well, before we get into that, Dave, can we just talk about the election and what we do know? All right. I think it's important here. Let's just look at the final polling averages. Okay. The two Democrats, Ossoff and Warnock, ended with polling averages of plus 1.8 and plus 2.1. Okay, so what does that actually mean? So if you look at the polling error rate that we had nationally in the last election, it was roughly 1.9%. So if we had a 1.9% error rate, that basically would put us in a dead even heat right now. But if you want to look at the error rate in polling from the national election just for Georgia, okay, that error rate was essentially 47.7% Trump, 48.5%. That was only a plus 6% error rate to the GOP. So if you believe that error rate, that would actually give the advantage today to the Democrats to win both these seats. Now, we all know this, right? Like, I don't care what the error rate is. You just can't trust polls with that type of precision. That's the one thing we do know. But I also think looking at the news, you know how these, if you look at past elections, it's all about the breaking news at the end that changes the flow. And you got to give that to the Democrats here with what happened this weekend with Trump, right? The leaked phone call, however you feel about it, there's no doubt, there's no way that could be a good thing for the GOP,
also,
right?
Historically, early voter turnout is leaning towards the Democratic side, right? So those two things are leaning in the Democratic favor, although, like you say, it was a Republican race to lose.
It was a Republican race to lose, but not anymore. And with this breaking news, and now if you look at the news flow, even this morning, you know, they have Trump talking about trying to convince Vice President Pence to overturn the electorates in Georgia. That is now the news story this morning. So you have bad news story after bad news story that could really, you know, have people lose their trust in this process. And I think you are going to get some degree of backlash against Trump in Georgia from independent voters. How many? I have no idea. Is it enough to cover kind of the strong Trump support that's going to come out that doesn't get reflected in the polling, as we know? This is a wild, dude, today is just, who the hell knows? But if you ask me right now, if I had to make a prediction, tell me if you agree. If I have to make a prediction, I think I would have to go with, I think the Democrats could take it. If you had to make a prediction today,
You
what
think
would
they'll get
what would you
both
say?
seats? You don't think it'll go 1-1?
I'm not. I think that if you force my hand right now, and that's why I made the trades I did that I'll talk about in a minute. If you force my hand right this second, I don't feel good about it. Like, I don't feel confident in the pick. But if I had to pick, based on everything I know, based on the news cycle this weekend, based on the news cycle this morning, based on the existing polls, whether you believe them or not, and how off they were last time, I have to follow the data. I have to follow the sentiment. And I'd have to say that the Dems take both seats, but it's not like a hard prediction. It's just, if I have to look at the odds, I think right this second are in the Dems' favor. I can't believe I'm saying that. And here's the bigger story. The bigger story is that the market does not believe that yet. The market is not believing that will happen as of right now. So
yeah, today I agree. Yesterday it looked like they were starting to think that way, right? Because we saw things like TAN going up and some of the bigger tech stocks going down, which was kind of what we would think.
Well, Jordan, you saw that movement, but the movement wasn't nearly as big as it would be if it actually happened, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't think the market, listen, the market, this has been in our heads for 3-4 months that it's going to be a balanced government, right? It's going to be, Senate, a split Senate, split Congress, basically. So I think if this actually plays out and happens, I think we're going to see some massive moves, and we just have to figure out what those moves are, and we'll talk about that. But Dave, if you had to make a call for the election today, what do you think would it be?
Right this very second, I agree with you. I think that right now, very close, but I think it's going to the Democratic side in both parties or in both races. Yeah. And I think that then opens up, contested lawsuits and even more uncertainty for weeks, right?
Well, we know that there are members of the House that are already going to try to, muck with the election results, right? We've got like 100. There are like 100 Republicans that have signed on to say that they're going to basically protest these the results of the Electoral College.
Yeah.
But the reality is that is not going to amount to anything.
I think sure. I mean, look, it's just a stand, right? I mean, they don't have the majority there, so they can't really do anything.
I think, listen, if you follow,
but it's not a good look, and I think that might be contributing to some of the enthusiasm around Democrats kind of coming together for this Georgia election.
Well, Jordan, yeah, those are political decisions. So, like behind the scenes, a lot of the I follow a lot of these DC kind of reporters that kind of talk about what's happening behind the scenes, and it appears that in the majority of cases, those GOP members that are coming out and contesting are basically saying that they don't believe that they don't believe in the contesting, but they have to do it because in their state, the Trump vote is so strong that they think if they don't do that, they're going to lose their seat. So this is all a ruse, right? Everything that's going on right now is just a political show. Nobody thinks anything is going to come out of it other than they're taking a stand to protect their seat for the Trump vote or not, right? So like there are a few politicians that are kind of saying, I don't care about that. I'm going to do what I think is right. But I think for the most part, it's a political ruse. I don't think it will amount to anything. I think the vote will stand whatever happens today. I think we're going to see a transition happen here in a couple weeks, right? A few weeks.
Yeah, look, it's a political ruse, but it's a bad look.
Yeah, and as we see people in the comments, we're not political at all. We're just trying to figure out what it means to our money, right?
Yeah. Yeah, by the way, guys, we're not commenting on whether the news is fake, whether it's real, whether Fox is real, whether CNN is real. We're just trying to take in all of the information, wherever it's coming from, and then trying to decide what it means for the stock market. Yeah. So get your politics out of this, guys. If you can't separate your own personal politics from your judgment, you're screwed. And this is not a good show to watch because we don't give it. Listen, by the way, we do have feelings about politics. We're just not going to discuss them on this show. Okay, this is about just analyzing in an unbiased way what's straight in front of your face and how that will relate to actual events and to the market. Period. Okay, so I don't want news, real news. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. Okay, guys. So you know what I feel about the election today. So that said, and by the way, my mind could change at any point over the course of today based on polling and exit polling and just data that we're being fed. But based on that, I made some trades. And I do want to say before I talk about the trades, we are not financial advisors. We don't know your risk tolerance. We know ours. The show's about strategy. It's about how we think. It's about running scenario modeling. It's about having a prepared mind. But in terms of what you do, you have to make your own decisions based on your own research. All right, guys? So do not mimic these trades. I cannot live with myself unless I put trades on the most obvious trades here. Like, and you could tell me what you guys think are the most obvious. I'll tell you what I think. I think TAN, TAN, which is the solar ETF, I think is one of the most obvious winners here if the Dems take both of those seats. All right.
Yeah, and just for disclosure, I am invested in TAN. I have about $250,000 in that ETF. And I know that you're in it too, Chris, right?
Yeah, I'm in it too. I actually...
Are you in TAN, Jordan?
No.
Okay.
Okay, I have been in TAN, and I have 7 figures in TAN, and I've had 7 figures since late summer, and that was been just a spectacular trade. That was a Biden trade. That was like my biggest Biden trade. But I added to my TAN position yesterday, not anything crazy, $70,000 roughly of calls. I bought the January 8th expiration, 100 strike price calls, and I bought 100 of those contracts. And I might double down and buy another 100. I might even triple down on those, quite honestly, today, guys. So we'll just see how the day goes. So that's one trade that I made. The other obvious one, guys, and we've been talking about this all summer, and this is obviously one of our largest positions. It's done really well for us. It was a big part of our 2020 success. For those that are just watching for the first time today, we recently did 2 episodes on our OG channel, which is just YouTube, Dumb Money, YouTube/Dumb Money, about how we made $25 million in the market. And we broke down our top 10 trades of 2020 over 2 episodes. They're both about 50 minutes long. Definitely watch those episodes if you haven't. One of the trades we talked about was, guys, and I think being one of the largest.
Chris, you need to maybe reposition your router. You basically have frozen. And
can
we
you
didn't
hear
hear
me?
Which stock you were talking about.
Oh, Vista. Sorry.
Vista. VSTO is Vista Outdoors.
I think that they're another obvious winner today if they pull this off. Obviously, we know how this all works. People get panicked that the Democrats are going to tighten gun laws, right? And they go out and purchase more guns. That also helps the ammo trade. Vista Outdoors is one of the best ways to play the ammo trade. It's a big monster part of their top line revenue at Vista. So those are my 2 key trades. And I'll tell you the options I bought in Vista here. Let me pull it up. Vista, I bought 100 contracts of the January 15 expiration 22.5 strike price calls. So that was about $25,000. So I spent $100,000 in call options yesterday that I might double or triple today, dependent upon how I see this vote going. Or I might just take those trades off the table and buy puts. If I see it going the other way, I might take those trades off the table and then buy
swing
puts
it the exact opposite direction.
Yeah. And so that I want to have a really clean way to trade this. Like I didn't want to trade it with like 15 different trades. So I'm just picking my 2 pure clean trades. By the way, EV is obviously the other great way to trade this. Isn't there an EV? I don't normally like trading EV ETFs. But today's a day when I might trade an EV ETF. Is there one? I know there's got to be one out there, right, guys?
There is. It's not coming to mind right now. Jordan, do you remember what it is?
No.
So, if there's an EV ETF yeah, to be the next best way, I think, to trade this, because obviously EV is a huge beneficiary here, huge, if the Dems pull off both of these seats. Do you guys have a different take?
DRIV, is that?
Yeah, DRIV is the Solactive Autonomous and Electronic Vehicle Index. There's also the HAIL, which is smart mobility. There is self-driving EV is iDRV, is iDrive. There's several, but they're also, looks like they're tied to autonomous vehicles.
So remember, guys, I don't want to get too fancy here. I don't want to put on any of these, like a sexy trade here. This has to be a straightforward trade that I can put volume into, right? Where I know I'm going to have a tight bid ask. I know there's going to be volume, and that's why I'm sticking with these couple of trades. There are obviously 100 other trades. We've talked about them, all of our Biden trades, basically, right? If you go back and watch our Biden episode, really any one of those trades would work here. I'm not messing too much with the home builders and stuff, though, because I don't feel like that's as pure, right?
Yeah.
Here,
no, it's not. It's not, and it's a little slower to see a change, right?
But I do want to talk about
immediate things. I think that the other immediate thing, and I mentioned it at the top of the show, is stimulus.
Mm-hmm.
I think that stimulus becomes, we have the 600 on the way. We could have another 2,000. We could have 10,000. We could have any number. I just think that pushes forward our bounce back stocks faster if we see the dim side win today.
Yeah, now, Dave,
and if we don't, I don't see that being a huge negative for the bounce back stocks. It's not like I'm not playing the short side on those, because those are just longer term. Eventually it's going to recover. Eventually we're going to reopen. Eventually all the money you lost in Spirit Airlines, you'll get back. Chris, you are in options. I just have the stock, and I think I'm still marginally up, even though it has pulled back recently.
Hey, Dave, though, you know that Biden came out and said that if the Dems take both those seats, they're moving forward with $2,000 stimulus checks, and that was I was like, wow, okay. So here's the deal: do you think he's talking about an extra 2,000?
I think he's talking about an extra 2,000.
So that changes everything. Okay, and you really do have to look at the stimulus trade. And what's my number one favorite stimulus trade? Bitcoin, right? I mean,
that's true.
That really is the big stimulus trade here. Is Bitcoin, crypto in general? I think
Bitcoin. I saw Bitcoin is up another like 2 or 3% today, like $700 more. Is that just because the dollar is falling apart, or is it truly Bitcoin is that important to people right now?
It's crazy. So what I'm not gonna buy more Bitcoin because I kind of have that position set right now, but I might dive into one of these Bitcoin miners today if it looks like they're going to take both of them, because they kind of move along with Bitcoin and they're a little more of a leverage take. I did close my investment, guys. I'm wiring money today.
That's what I was going to ask. So a few maybe a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks ago now, we had an opportunity to invest in a private company that has the opportunity potentially of going public. And it's a Bitcoin mining company, and I passed on it. Jordan passed on it, and Chris is closing on that private transaction today.
$150,000 investment in the Bitcoin mining company. It's going out at I want to say a $250 million valuation. It's one of the largest Bitcoin, maybe the largest mining company in North America, and they're looking to IPO in the next 4 months. So on a Canadian exchange with a NASDAQ ADR, a NASDAQ tracker. So I'm happy about that, because those guys are super profitable at $19,000 Bitcoin, and anything above that, they're crazy profitable. So crypto is another obvious way, I think, to trade this. And I think you just have to, everyone's going to have a different flavor on how they want to trade today's vote, but you should run the scenarios. You should know how you want to trade this, because if information starts to hit this afternoon before market closes, that signifies like a massive move in one direction or the other, you better darn well know exactly what you're going to trade. And just be ready to click. Like the second you get that information, like if I get information that it looks like the GOP is going to run with at least one of those seats, I am immediately getting out of those trades, possibly reversing those trades. Okay.
So is your scenario, if it's +2 on the Democratic side, you're doing these trades. If it's even +1, you're basically staying neutral.
And if it's +1 is the same as losing both for the Democrats. It really doesn't matter, right? So like they either get the
both,
Congress,
or you're going on the Republican win trades, which is basically just the opposite.
The Dems need to win both votes to have a majority, right? Because they win both votes, it basically puts the Congress in an even split for the Senate, and then they would then get the overriding vote, right? With the VP candidate, the Democratic VP gets to have that deciding vote. Now, does it mean that they're going to be able to push through any legislation they want? Absolutely not. Because they are on a razor-thin margin, and not every Democrat is like, let's spend trillions and trillions of dollars, let's do this and that, and do things that are controversial. But
it really keeps it to the point where pretty much anyone on either side can raise their hand and say, yeah, I'm not for that, and it blocks it, right? So it creates a scenario where we get in this nothing gets done kind of phase.
So you have to ask
it is. They've got some better leverage though, right? And so I think they could still get some things done, especially with the nuclear option. So as long as those rules stay in effect, then they can still push things through. It just becomes political at that point, right? And how much are you gonna really fight to push something through and use that option?
Jordan, don't you think there's certain things that probably all of those Senate Democrats would vote for, like probably some gun tightening? I think that kind of is a party line thing that the Democrats would likely push through, and they'll probably all vote for is some type. So that's
look, they've got I think is it the Utah senator that's he's a Democrat by name. He's pretty conservative. I forgot his name. Do you remember his name, Dave? So he could be, kind of one of those swing vote guys that it just depends on the issue. He's probably going to be more of an issue voter than a straight line Democrat voter.
I think they're going to get the stimulus done, Jordan, right?
I think they'll get the stimulus done, yeah, for sure.
Taxes. How about taxes? I mean, this is the big negative, guys.
Well,
right?
So
like,
that's one thing, right? And so that's what you got to think about. Are they going to push the stimulus out, right, and encourage spending, and then also raise taxes and try to basically discourage spending? I think if taxes gets done, maybe it's next year instead of this year. So maybe it's a 2022 thing if the economy starts going well. I think it's still a concern. I just don't think it's, right now.
I think it's a big part of what they stand for, Jordan.
I know. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I think it's always there. I think you've got to worry about it in 2022, and then maybe there's another election. We've got another chance to
listen. I think it becomes a potential issue, an overhang for the market in general, and that's so. I think short term. Yeah, we get a stimulus boost. That's nice. That's why I'm really sticking with my Amazon right now, because I think a stimulus boost, that $2,000 checks, it's great for Amazon. We know it's great for crypto. We know it's great. If they win this, it'll be great for the EV stocks. It's going to be great for all the Robinhood, Wall Street bet stocks, right? All the hype stocks are going to kill it, I think, if they win and get a $2,000 stimulus, right?
Well, then do we have to worry about, if it's all Dem, do we have to worry about more regulation on like an Amazon? I mean, there's always been talk about
possibly, but I'm
regulatory issues with Amazon.
I'm probably going in deeper, Jordan, on my EV portfolio. I really am, because now that I think about it, it's not just about EV legislation; it's about stimulus. And you combine that $2,000 stimulus checks, that's monster big, guy. I don't even think we can wrap our head around $2,000 stimulus checks. Are you kidding me? With EV legislation, under Democrat control, are you kidding me?
You can almost buy 3 shares of Tesla with that $2,000. I'm just saying.
But you know what? Almost as big are Republicans. Rural Republicans getting $2,000 checks going out and buying guns and ammo, though, right? I mean, to the same effect, right? You're going to have kids buying stocks, EV stocks, okay? You're going to have
all the hype stocks. Yeah.
the right side of the market's going to be they're buying guns and ammo, $2,000. Crypto for sure, right? Like I feel like the plays are so pure here. It's a really nice trade. This is a really nice trade. Just as a trader, I think it could be fun as a trader if the Dems win those 2 seats. Now, I mean, politics aside, right? However we feel about politics, the trader, I think that's a really interesting trade.
It's a more pure trade if the Democrats win.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to talk about the go-to strategy. What are we going to do if the Republicans win? Because just getting out of our tan, getting out of Vista Outdoors, is that really enough, or is there something else that we're not thinking of that might be a more pure play on that side?
Dave, I think I'm going to the Republicans,
because I still think that it's not like I'm going to sell my Bitcoin, so I'm not going on the opposite of that trade.
See, this is
probably the time to get out of tan.
Been waiting on, right? So you know that I bought some XLE like a few weeks ago, or maybe a month, 2 months ago, and it's done really well. And I've wanted to go in a little bit deeper in some of these energy stocks, maybe even Total, maybe Royal Dutch Shell, some of these guys. But I'm just some of the European ones. But I'm just worried about full Dem control. What's that going to do for the energy industry? And so I've been kind of waiting on all that stuff. I think I do go in heavier if it's more of a balanced federal government.
Yeah, I think I sell Vista. I'm going to sell. So what I did was I moved all of my Vista stock into my charitable foundation, knowing that there was a chance that I might want to sell it because the gains are so big on that. I won't have to pay taxes on those gains now because the charity owns those gains. The charitable foundation owns those gains. So I'm planning on selling my Vista today or tomorrow if the GOP takes at least one of those seats. Okay, guys? Because I think the gun and ammo trade kind of not that it goes bad necessarily. I'm not saying it's a bad thing for Vista. I think the upside starts to get capped because with the Republicans having some control there, I don't think we get through any major gun legislation, really. I don't think it's happening.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I am. It's not complex, guys. My trades are pretty straightforward on this one.
Yeah. And we're kind of all on the same page. I mean, it's pretty simple, and it just comes down to watching the news. What do we know about how Georgia reports? I can't remember what the reporting schedule is. Like when polls close, when do we start to get data? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen until polls close, so we won't have anything official until the end of, after trading hours. But are we going to get exit poll results early? Are we going to hear anything?
I bet we get polling tonight. I bet we get results tonight. Maybe not final results, but we start to get a feel for where we're going to land tonight, right?
But any chance of seeing anything of enough reliability during the trading day today that we start to shift position?
Okay, so people are starting to roll in. They're saying that I think that they mean that the polls are going to close at 7 p.m. So we could potentially, it'll be like any other election night, except way more focused into one, geographic region, obviously.
And one head-to-head competition.
And that this is going to be races. All that, these major networks are going to be playing. Major
100%.
News networks. Yeah.
100%.
I'm just happy for the people of Georgia. They're finally going to be able to get away from all of the negative TV campaigns. Something like $500 million was spent by both sides just since the runoff, right? That doesn't include anything that happened in the general election, but just for this runoff, $500 million.
Also, I do want to address something. People are telling me that oil is the past and that renewables is the future, and of course they are. We all agree with that. I think all three of us are in renewables heavily in our portfolios. I just think that there is still a long runway with oil, especially with airline flight. It just doesn't make sense to shove a battery in an airplane yet.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just not investing in it.
Yeah,
it's just that's not a market that I know enough about, and I do see it as a dying industry eventually. So it's just one that I'm personally staying away from. But I know, Jordan, you're way more educated about that sector than I am, and if you're in it, that makes me curious. But still, I'm not.
Yeah.
Not enough to put my money in it.
Guys, that's it. That's my trade. By the way, stick with us this next week. I have some other trades that I'm working on that I want to talk about. Not today. One of them is in the EV sector. Okay, I don't want to talk about that. I actually took a small position today. I'm kind of leaning into it, but I have more research to do. Another is, hey, I bought this Razer. These earphones. My daughter's gaming set earphones. Razer. I did some work on it this last week. I actually think there are some people that are working on a report on Razer on our Discord channel that should be out in the next few days, I think, too. It's a very small trade for me, like minuscule trade. But I did buy some Razer RAZFF just for fun because it looks like, the search traffic is through the roof. I started looking into them last week when I, my daughter got these headphones. I was like, wow, man, these guys are just on fire. But it's a tiny little ADR that trades in the U.S. because it's a foreign company. It's not very liquid. I didn't want to put much money into it. I didn't spend that much time researching it. But there will be some people on our Discord channel are working on a report. So we'll get that out this week, and I can't wait to read that one. I do have a pretty significant EV stock that I'm researching I want to talk about later this week. I want to talk about Australia later this week or early next week. That's where they've come out of the pandemic, kind of, and we could see a lot of the human behavior, consumer behavior data. We can start to model that. This is what the U.S. is going to look like when we come out of the pandemic. Some fascinating data, guys. I have a trade that I'm already in that I'm going to double, triple down in. I want to talk about that later this week. This is an exciting start to the new year, man. I'm feeling
I think
pretty
we are
good.
not doing a show tomorrow because you are traveling, and I think I am also going to be in a different location by the time we do.
Where are you going, Dave? Where are you head to tomorrow?
Don't even know. That's the power of having a camper van. We just head up the coast.
Try to
I don't
find
know.
the end of that long white line on the road.
Yeah, I mean, wherever we end up is where we end up.
So wait, so you get in the car, and does Megan have an idea of where she's
Megan has a
taking
plan.
you?
Yeah, she knows where we're going. I just have no idea.
Okay. Did you tell her you want to stay in hotel rooms?
I do want to see Savannah, Georgia, and I do want to see. Maybe I should go there and try to vote.
Yes, you need to be there for the election
I
day.
think that's legal, Dave.
No, can't do that. But then I also want to see. There's some other, Charleston I want to see. So there's just some places that I've always, when you're in a camper van, you get to finally see the places in America where you've never been. So if you guys in the comments have anywhere that you think I should go, let me know.
You can go to the Outer Banks so you can get one of those OBX shirts.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Hey guys, I want to say something. In the comments, a lot of people are always asking about our Discord, about our videos. I just want to say, dumbmoney.tv has a link to everything in our entire world, from our Twitter accounts to the Discord. So guys, just go to dumbmoney.tv, and everything you ever want to know about our brand is there.
We have a comment asking us about Bed Bath & Beyond. They are up, it looks like, over 7%, and they have earnings coming up on the 7th. You just broke your cat ears.
I knocked an ear off. I was in on that trade, not big, but I know our Discord community has been pumped on that trade, so I got in it with options. Wait.
What's this, Bed Bath & Beyond?
Yep. Yeah, I have 100. I don't have that many. I have 100 of the January 15, 2021 $17 calls. They're up 41% today.
You think you're going to hold those through earnings? No, the earnings are
up
at
7.5%. I don't know why.
I know, the 12-year-old investor kid that we had on a week and a half ago. He's really pumped on that too. I know he's pumped on it.
I saw an article on it on Seeking Alpha. I think it was talking about a short squeeze was setting up. So maybe that has. I have no idea.
They have a massive short position in that stock.
Yeah, it's something like 70% short.
Crazy. Now I feel like maybe I should pick up some more if it's catching the attention of the whole, newbie Robinhooder crowd. I don't own any straight stock.
Yeah.
Listen, the the data looks really good. The data looks really good on them this last quarter into the holiday. I didn't go in big because I thought it was really difficult to gauge investor expectations. And also, even if they have a really good quarter, it's like it's one of those stocks where it's post-pandemic. Are they really going to do good post-pandemic? You know what I'm saying?
It's like a container store. They're like these. It's the store that nobody really wants to go to. You kind of go and get your sheets or whatever, and it's just miserable.
That's a ringing endorsement.
Well,
I back in the day when you could actually go places, that was one of the stores that I liked to just go and wander around and look at the aisles. That's like a Home Depot or a
Bed Bath and Beyond.
There's so many cool gadgets. That's where I got my my blender that makes margaritas.
I think you can get a Keurig there.
Here's what I like. They're launching 10. They're launching 10 private label brands this year. Okay. That's a good move for them because Bed Bath & Beyond, love them or hate them, they do have a brand. They have brand recognition, and there's no reason for them not to do their own private label brands where they can get higher margin, right, and start selling them even beyond their doors, their retail shops. It's all about e-commerce for them. If they can kind of figure out the e-commerce game, I don't know. They don't have to do great. They just have to do good enough to scare off those short sellers, right? And to get a little short run going there. So,
Chris, by the way, have you seen all these commercials springing up for Generac? They are getting into the Powerwall space.
Oh, really?
And they're advertising heavily their battery Powerwall. So, FYI.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I still have my full Generac position. So, guys, today's a good day so far.
You bought a gas system right at the time when everything's going to batteries.
Dave, I love my generator.
Yeah, the natural gas, that's the system you want to get if you have a long-term power outage. I mean, the battery's great, but it's only going to last so long. And really, where those shine is if you have like a solar system and you tie it to the battery. But if you just have your own system, I think the gas is the way to go.
No, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. But it would be nice to have battery and solar.
Yeah,
that's the Tesla system that I'm planning to invest in.
And if the gas generator ever goes out, you can just move into that big enclosure that's on the side of your house, Chris.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Or just move into your Tesla and go on a road trip.
I am on vacation, and I could see my wife cooking up some eggs inside that I would like to go enjoy. Let's. Oh, look at this! This is my. Would you mind coming on for a sec? It's my brother-in-law. Look at this outfit, man. This is Todd. Check this out.
What in the world is going on there?
That's Todd. All for the kids in our house, dude. Todd is the greatest uncle you could ever have. In addition to my two brothers, of course. Anyway,
I think he just won. He just won
he
Easter.
Might have just
I don't even
won.
know.
Is there
for
a
those
better
listening
way
to the podcast? He just walked in a full pink bunny suit, like Energizer bunny style.
I have no idea what the context of that is. What the hell is going on right now? But he was sleeping. We have a bedroom on the first floor that he stayed with us last night. So I guess, is that what he sleeps in every night? I don't even know. I'm not asking any questions. But let's get out of here, guys. I got to go eat. We have
all
a
right,
big
thank you guys
today.
for tuning in. This is Dumb Money. Go to dumbmoney.tv to find all the places where you can follow us and find us and watch us. And we'll have this as a podcast later. If you missed any part of it, you can always watch the replay. We are Dumb Money. We will see you right here sometime in the future, very, very soon. So subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing.